Florentino Perez isn't one to give up on the best players that easily. Heading things at a club like Real Madrid means that you cannot take no for an answer, especially when it comes to signing a player who also wants to be part of your team. So it wasn't surprising to see Perez talk about Mbappe's failed transfer bid last summer. While he's been injured for quite some time, Chelsea are still keen on signing Wesley Fofana, whose star is on the rise. Juninho has been working as the sporting director of Olympique Lyon for quite some time, but it appears that the Brazilian might be looking at something different once the current campaign ends. Dusan Vlahovic has loads of admirers these days, and it appears that the young Serbian has another one in Paris. Is this the one? Dani Alves has only just returned to Barcelona, and the legendary fullback is clearly happy to be back where he is today. We've got so much to cover today, so if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on your notifications. The veteran fullback has just returned to Barcelona and says that he is so happy to be back at a club that he still considers to be the best on the planet. The 38-year-old ended an 8-year stint at Camp Nou back in 2016 and is now back in familiar surroundings alongside Xavi, with whom he shared so much success on the field. The unexpected opportunity is not one that Alves wants to miss out on, and while speaking to the media, he admitted that he'd been trying to return to the club for a very long time. I always say that there are two shirts that make me feel like a superhero when I wear them: Brazil and Barcelona shirts. To wear this shirt again gives me a boost of strength and adrenaline. I hope I can transmit that to my teammates. My nicest memories in football happened here at Barcelona. My home is here in Barcelona. My closest relatives live here in Barcelona. So it was inevitable that I returned to Barcelona. The pleasant surprise is to come back as a player. But if not, I would still have returned to Barcelona because it's a fascinating city that I love. With Barcelona in serious trouble at the moment, guys like Dani Alves will be really crucial to the club's chances of moving higher up the league table. Fiorentina will have to be very strong if they're to hold on to Dusan Vlahovic. The Serbian striker's performances have alerted some of the very best in European football, and La Viola know that they might not be able to convince their star player into staying. They can, however, demand a sizable fee for the striker, who's already scored 8 goals in the league. Recently, Arsenal were linked with an €80 million move for the youngster. The proposition was sufficiently tempting for Fiorentina, but the only problem is that the Serb does not want to join the Gunners in January. This means that other teams in Europe have a chance of making their move. Take for example Juventus, who are in need of a younger striker. The exchanges between the Turin management and the player's entourage have intensified in recent hours. In terms of salary, Vlahovic would want at least €6 million annually. The Turin Giants aren't worried about that, but it appears that Fiorentina are in no rush to commit to a deal, given the fact that Vlahovic has many other suitors. Paris Saint-Germain are another team keen on signing the young striker. The Parisians are set to lose Kylian Mbappe in the summer, and once he leaves, they'll want to have a striker who guarantees them regular goals. Mauro Icardi is already keen on leaving Parc des Princes, which means that the Ligue 1 Giants will need a new striker anyway if the Argentine leaves this January. Staying in France for now, we've got another major update. Just a few days before their game against Marseille, Lyon sporting director Juninho sat down with RMC Sport and spoke about the start of the season, his relationship with manager Peter Bosz, areas for improvement in the upcoming transfer window, and even his own future. To everyone's surprise, the legendary midfielder hinted that he might be leaving his post at the end of the season. Juninho says that he always said he would need 3 years to see what he's capable of doing before admitting that he got this opportunity because he was a former player at the club. But it now appears that the man who used to score from free kicks all the time is eager to try something other than being a sporting director. I want to do other things. To coach? Yeah, it's in my mind. Right now, I don't have any coaching badges to work in Europe, but I do have those for other countries. I have no offers. With Peter, I learn a lot of things. In life, you never get everything you want. If I have a chance, I will try. I prefer to try than to have regrets. Signed by Leicester in the summer of 2020 from AS Saint-Etienne, Wesley Fofana has quickly impressed everyone in England. With 32 appearances in all competitions last season, the 20-year-old defender has displayed solid performances and enormous serenity for his young age, enough to receive multiple compliments from the British press and attract the attention of the biggest European teams. This is the case in particular with Real Madrid and Chelsea, who both looked into the situation of the French youth international by contacting the latter's entourage directly, while Manchester United are a little further behind. Currently recovering after his fibular fracture that occurred last August, the French central defender is still a wanted commodity in the European market, according to our information. At the top of the Premier League, Thomas Tuchel's side could again be active during the next summer transfer window. Always fond of young French talents, the Blues have always been interested in Wesley Fofana. And for good reason, contact between the winners of last year's Champions League and the player have resumed. The story is a little different on the United side, who are keeping an eye out. The Red Devils had recently paid €93 million to secure Harry Maguire's services from Leicester in 2019 after long weeks of negotiation, and a new major operation could emerge even if Chelsea clearly have a lead in advance with contact already established. And given the player's age and the duration of his contract until 2025, it will certainly be necessary to pay a similar sum to convince the residents of the King Power Stadium to let go of their young defender. But then again, you can never put a price on sheer quality, of which Fofana has loads. On the sidelines of the grand meeting with the club's socios, the president of Real Madrid, Florentino Perez, had a lot of things to talk about and also managed to talk about the club's interest in Kylian Mbappe without using his name or PSG's name. Earlier on Tuesday, Perez held meetings with representatives of the socios in order to get approval for getting new debt financed for the remaining work on the new Santiago Bernabeu. The renovation is going to cost the club about €225 million. However, that was not the only thing Perez talked about, and naturally, the conversation diverted towards the club's plans for the upcoming transfer windows. It's already well known that Real Madrid have the hots for Kylian Mbappe. The young Frenchman is also eager to leave Paris Saint-Germain and sign for a club that he'd always dreamed of playing for. In fact, the youngster was very close to signing for them in the summer, but PSG resisted the urge to sell him for a profit. Mbappe is not looking to sign a new deal, and if it remains that way, he'll be a free agent in June, thus paving the way for a rather uncomplicated arrival at Real Madrid. While speaking to socios, Perez decided not to name names, but his statements were enough to suggest what he was doing. We have to honour the contracts and we try to bring in the best players, but you have to be prepared to pay for them. Now you give them 200 million and they don't sell him to you. When they end their contracts, it's better, but right now there is a madness about clubs owned by states and they don't sell you the player. Perez is also sure that eventually there will be a time when the top 30 clubs in Europe will be owned by states. All in all, Real Madrid are making preparations for welcoming Kylian Mbappe to the club. While Nasser Al-Khelaifi keeps stating that Mbappe isn't going to leave the club, the reality is that the player already has his mind made up, and sooner rather than later, he'll be leaving. During the international break, the 22-year-old insisted that he is happy at the club, while saying that he spent 5 amazing years at Parc des Princes. However, he now wants to seek other challenges, even though PSG are willing to make him the highest paid player in Europe. It takes two to tango, and PSG are just going through the moves on their own.